The castle hallway stretched, a moor of stone and shadow. Moonlight, fractured by stained glass, painted the floor in hues of blood and sapphire. Dust motes danced in the cold air, disturbed only by the whisper of Robert's approach.
Each step echoed, the sound swallowed by the heavy silence.
His hand tightened on the worn leather of his satchel, his knuckles bone white. Fear, a venomous serpent, coiled in his gut. He shouldn't be here. This place reeked of power, ancient and terrible, but desperation, a cruel taskmaster, had driven him to this precipice. He reached a massive oak door, its surface carved with grotesque figures, locked in eternal torment. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the silence. He'd heard the whispers, tales of the countess who resided within. A creature of the night, they said, a being of immense power and insatiable hunger.
A shiver ran down his spine, but he pushed the fear aside. His daughter's life hung in the balance. For her, he would brave any hell.
He drew a shuddering breath and knocked, the sound hesitant against the heavy wood. The serpent of fear uncoiled, its fangs sinking deep. The door swung open, silent and swift, as if beckoned. Robert's breath hitched. Before him stood a woman of impossible height, her silhouette framed by the dim light of the room beyond. Her eyes, emeralds flecked with gold, seemed to pierce him, see into his very soul. They held a flicker of amusement, a predator recognizing its prey. She did not speak, but the air crackled with unspoken power.
You come seeking my aid, little morsel.
Her voice, a husky whisper, sent chills down his spine. Her lips painted a deep crimson, curved into a knowing smile. Robert swallowed, his throat suddenly dry.
Countess Dimitrescu, he began, his voice a mere tremor in the stillness. I have heard tales of your abilities.
Abilities? She echoed, her smile widening. She took a step forward, her presence filling the doorway.
Robert fought the urge to step back.
Power, he corrected, meeting her gaze with a desperate courage. I need your power. He laid his hand on the satchel, his fingers tracing the worn leather.
And what makes you think, she purred, circling him like a predator, that I would offer it to you? Her eyes, sharp and cold, never left his face.
Robert drew a deep breath, steeling himself. He had anticipated her skepticism.
I offer something in return, he said, his voice firmer now.
He opened the satchel, his movements measured. Inside lay a wooden box, its surface etched with strange symbols. He could feel the Countess's gaze burning into him. He lifted the lid, revealing a shimmering stone, its facets catching the dim light. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, a beacon in the gloom. The air grew heavy, charged with power. The Countess's eyes widened, a flicker of genuine interest crossing her face.
What is this? She breathed, her gaze fixed on the stone.
Robert allowed himself a sliver of hope. He had her attention.
A relic, he said, his voice low. One of immense power, its secrets, in exchange for your help.
He extended the box towards her, a silent offering. For a moment their gazes locked, a silent bargain hanging in the air. A blood-curdling scream shattered the tense silence. It echoed through the castle, a chilling wave of terror. The Countess whirled around, her eyes blazing with fury.
Mother? A voice high-pitched and frantic cut through the shadows.
A young woman, her face pale with fear, stumbled into the hallway. Her eyes widened as she saw Robert.
What have you done? The Countess hissed, her gaze like ice.
The stone, the bargain, all forgotten in the face of this new intrusion. Robert's blood ran cold. He had a terrible feeling this meeting was far from over. It can move mountains, and in this story, it brings Robert back to Alcina. Robert's heart raced as he approached the grand castle gates. The memories of Alcina flooded his mind. Inside he found Bella, Cassandra and Daniela. "How have you been?" he asked, his voice barely steady. Smiling, they led him through the hallways towards the one person he longed to see. As the doors opened, there she was, Alcina Dimitrescu. Their eyes met and time seemed to stand still. Her heart felt like it might break, overwhelmed by the sight of him. Tears welled up as they closed the distance between them. Years of longing melted away in that single moment. They embraced, finally reunited. Love, stronger than ever, had brought them back together. Stopped, only her, eyes locked, blue met green. He knew she was it, his forever. Alcina felt it too, a pull, a jolt. Robert's presence was electric, her heart raced, her breath hitched. He was different, he was hers. Their first conversation was effortless. Laughter flowed like wine, shared dreams, whispered fears. Hours melted away, they were two halves, finally whole. The world faded when they touched. His hand in hers. A spark ignited, their love, a wildfire burning bright, impossible to ignore. Weibo watched Alcina. Obsession clouded his thoughts. She had to be his. He craved her. He lusted for her. He would have her. Alcina, blinded by Robert's love, made a mistake. One night of weakness, one night with Weibo, a consequence grew within her, a baby. Guilt gnawed at her. She confessed to Robert. Tears streamed down her face. His heart ached, but his love unwavering. He would be a father, for her, always for her. Weibo demanded marriage. For the child, Alcina agreed. Robert stood by her, a pillar of strength, their love tested but unbroken. The wedding was a blur. Alcina's heart belonged to Robert. Her vows to Weibo, empty words. Robert's eyes held hers, their secret love, a silent promise. Years passed. The bond between Robert and Alcina deepened. They raised the child as their own. Love conquered all, their connection a beacon of light. Whispers of their love spread. Some judged, others envied. But Robert and Alcina, they only saw each other, their love a sanctuary. Their love echoed in stolen glances, in shared smiles, in the way their hands brushed. A love unspoken yet undeniable. It was in the air they breathed. Strange occurrences plagued Robert. Shadows moved differently around him, his touch sometimes unbearably hot. His eyes flickered, gold to red. Back again. Alcina noticed. Fear pricked her heart. What was Robert hiding? Was he ill? Was he in danger? She pushed him, desperate for answers. One night under a blood moon he confessed. He was different, not from this world. He was a hellhound bound to serve. But his love for Alcina, that was his choice, his curse, his salvation. Alcina listened, horrified. Her Robert, a creature of darkness? Yet as she looked at him, all she saw was love, the same love that had captivated her from the start.
This is why you need to hold your loved ones close, because in times of need, family is everything. In a quiet hospital room, Alcina lies in bed, her thoughts filled with worry. She's here for the baby, but her heart aches for her husband, Robert. Miles away at work, Robert's mind isn't on his tasks. Every moment he's thinking about Alcina, about their life together, and the little one on the way. Back at the hospital, their daughters, Cassandra, Bella and Daniela, sit by their mum's side. They hold her hands, share stories, and bring smiles through the tears. This is a story of love, of strength, and of family united through thick and thin. It's a reminder that no matter the distance or the challenge, love finds a way. In the end, it's not just the baby that brings joy, but the unbreakable bonds that hold this family together. Because in moments like these, family is everything.
Something people don't know about the power of love. It can move mountains, and in this story, it brings Robert back to Alcina. Robert's heart raced as he approached the grand castle gates. The memories of Alcina flooded his mind. Inside he found Bella, Cassandra and Daniela. "How have you been?" he asked, his voice barely steady. Smiling, they led him through the hallways towards the one person he longed to see. As the doors opened, there she was, Alcina Dimitrescu. Their eyes met and time seemed to stand still. Her heart felt like it might break, overwhelmed by the sight of him. Tears welled up as they closed the distance between them. Years of longing melted away in that single moment. They embraced, finally reunited. Love, stronger than ever, had brought them back together. In the shadows of the castle, where the moonlight softly glows, Alcina waits with bated breath, her heart a secret she knows. Robert, brave and tender, steps into her dark domain. With every glance a spark ignites, a love that feels like flames. Alcina and Robert, a love so fierce and true. In a world of darkness they find their light anew. Through the whispers of the night their hearts begin to dance. In a tale of love and mystery they take a daring chance. With every stolen moment they weave a precious thread. Hearts entwined in passion where no words need to be said. She, the queen of shadows, with a grace that holds him tight. He, the fearless wanderer, drawn to her ethereal light. Alcina and Robert, a love so fierce and true. In a world of darkness they find their light anew. Through the whispers of the night their hearts begin to dance. In a tale of love and mystery they take a... Through the storm and the silence their souls begin to soar. In the depths of the night they'll always crave for more. Two hearts beat as one in a world that feels so right. Together they will conquer, stepping into the night. Alcina and Robert, a love so fierce and true. In a world of darkness they find their light anew. Through the whispers of the night their hearts begin to dance. In a tale of love and mystery they take a... So let the night be witness to this love that they have found, Alcina and Robert, forever spellbound. In the echoes of the castle their story will remain, a timeless haunting melody, love's sweet refrain.
The mansion stood atop the hill, a monolith of stone and shadow. Ivy, like grasping claws, clung to its weathered walls. Gargoyles perched on the roofline, their expressions unreadable in the fading light. They were silent sentinels, guarding secrets whispered on the wind. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of ancient wood and forgotten dreams. Dust motes danced in the pale light, filtering through stained glass windows, painting the room in a mosaic of colors. Rich velvet drapes, the color of dried blood, cascaded over tall windows, shrouding the room in an elegant gloom. An elaborate chandelier dripping with crystals hung from the vaulted ceiling. Each crystal held a flicker of candlelight, casting dancing shadows across the walls. The air hummed with anticipation, a silent symphony of expectation for the night to come. For tonight, this mansion of shadows would bear witness to a most unusual union. The bride stood before a tall, gilded mirror. Her reflection gazed back, a vision in ivory and ebony. Her gown, a masterpiece of Gothic elegance, flowed around her like liquid moonlight. The bodice, crafted from the finest lace, hugged her figure. It was accented with intricate beading that shimmered like stars in the dim light. A long, flowing train trailed behind her, its surface a cascade of dark, luxurious velvet. It pooled on the floor, a sea of darkness at her feet. A silver necklace adorned with a single black onyx graced her throat. It was a family heirloom passed down through generations, a tangible link to her lineage. Her fingers, encased in delicate lace gloves, clutched a bouquet of deep red and black roses. Thorny vines, woven into the arrangement, snaked around the blooms, a reminder of the wildness that lurked beneath the surface. Her eyes, dark and intense, her reflection's gaze. Tonight is not a blushing bride, but a queen of the night. The grand hall had been transformed. Gone was the usual air of somber elegance. In place was a spectacle of Gothic grandeur. At our end of the hall, an altar stood draped in swathes of deep purple velvet. It shimmered like an slick under the flickering candlelight. Atop the altar, nestled amongst the velvet, lay a single ancient book. Its leather cover was worn smooth with time, the pages whispering forgotten secrets. Behind, a towering Gothic window reached towards the heavens, stained glass depictions of ravens and roses to watch the proceedings with knowing eyes. With candelabras flanking the altar, cast long shadows that danced across the walls. Their flesh flickered, casting an eerie glow upon the assembled guests. Garlands of deep red and roses, intertwined with ivy and thorns, adorned stone walls. Their fragrance, a mix of sweetness and decay, hung heavy in the air. Section 4. A symphony of soul and ecstasy, music for the night. First strains of Mozart's Lacrimosa echoed through the hall, a haunting melody, both beautiful and melancholic. It set the tone for the ceremony. The music seemed to seep into the very stones of the mansion, a sonic embodiment of the Gothic aesthetic. As the bride made her entrance, the music shifted to Debussy's Clair de Lune. The piano notes, delicate filled with longing, painted a picture of moonlit walks through forgotten gardens. It spoke of love and loss, of beauty tinged with a hint of sadness. During the vows, Beethoven's Night Sonata filled the air. The music swelled and subsided like the tides, reflecting the emotional currents of the ceremony. Spoke of passion and devotion, of a love that transcended boundaries of life and death. Section 5. Eternal Vows in the Mansion Embrace, a Night to Remember. The ceremony concluded and the guests moved to the ballroom. Atmosphere crackled with anticipation. The strains of a waltz played by a hidden orchestra filled the air. The dance floor, polished to a mirror sheen, reflected the shimmering candlelight. Later, as the night deepened, the music shifted. Contemporary dark bands took the stage, their music a blend of Gothic and electronic beats. The sound pulsed through the mansion, a soundtrack to a night of dark celebration. The mansion, once shrouded in shadows, now throbbed life, but even amidst the revelry, a sense of mystery remained. The mansion had borne witness to centuries of secrets and desires. Tonight it had welcomed another chapter into its ancient embrace. The Gothic wedding, a fusion of elegance and the macabre, would be etched in the mansion's memory, another thread in the tapestry of its shadow past.